Let's practice finding the average rate of change for a function given a certain interval. So again, average rate of change is just another way of saying slope. So keep that in mind. And when you're given an interval like this one, these are x values. So I recommend making a table of values to keep yourself organized as we find the slope, or average rate of change, between these 2 points. So these are x values, so my x values are 1 and 3. Now we need the y values that go with them. The y values will be given by this formula here. So my y value will, in this case, will be 3 times 2 to the x minus 4 power. So that means the 1 minus 4 power, and then minus 2. So that means this will be 3 times 2 to the negative 3 power, because 1 minus 4 is negative 3, and then minus 2. Well, what do I do with this? Please remember that 2 to the negative 3 power means 1 over 2 to the third power. And then 2 to the third power is 8. So this is 1 over 8. So that's what we have right here. So that means we have 3 times 1/8 and then minus 2. Alright, so this is getting a little bit ugly, but let us persevere. 3 times 1/8, this is like 3 over 1. So that means what we have now is 3/8 minus 2. So how do I do this without a fancy calculator? Well, this 2 is like having 2 over 1, and we need like denominators. So what you would do is multiply by 8 in the numerator and the denominator. So now you have 3/8 minus 16/8. So this is going to be negative 13/8. So that is the y value that we just found. So we have the point 1 comma negative 13/8. Okay, quite an ugly number there. Now I'm going to need this space, so I'm going to have to erase all this for now, because now I need to find the next one, the other y value. So this y value, again using the formula, will be 3 times 2 to the x minus 4 power, so that'll be the 3 minus 4 power minus 2. So that'll be 3 times 2 to the negative 1 power. Alright, 3 minus 4 is negative 1, of course. 2 to the negative 1 power is 1 over 2. That's what you do when you have a negative exponent. You drop it to the denominator. So that means I have 3 times 1/2 minus 2. Now remembering that this 3 is like 3 over 1. So 3 over 1 times 1/2. Let me bring this up. This will simply be 3 over 2, multiplying these together. So I have 3 over 2 minus 2. How do I do this? Well, this 2 is like having 2 over 1. So we need like denominators. So what you would do is multiply both of these by 2. So now I have 3 over 2 minus 4 over 2. 3 minus 4 is negative 1. So this will be negative 1 over 2. So that's my y value, is negative 1/2. Now, as I mentioned before, the average rate of change is just the slope between these 2 points. And the slope formula that we learned back in Algebra 1 is y minus y over x minus x. Alright, this is how you find the slope. So y minus y, so that's going to be negative 1/2 minus negative 13 over 8. Okay, that's my y minus y. Now x minus x will just be 3 minus 1. So we just need to simplify all this down. Now, be careful here. I have minus a negative, so hopefully you remember that minus a negative becomes addition. So this is really negative 1/2 plus 13 over 8. Okay, maybe I'll do this numerator part off to the side. So I've got negative 1/2 plus 13 over 8. We need like denominators here. So to make like denominators, I would multiply by 4. So that's going to give me negative 4 over 8 plus 13 over 8. Well, that's going to be 9 over 8. So all of that was my numerator. So that's my numerator is 9 over 8. So that means I have 9/8 in the numerator. Now, of course, in the denominator, 3 minus 1, that's just going to be 2. So I've got 9/8 divided by 2. How do I do that? Well, when you're dealing with fractions, if you want to divide, what you do is you multiply by the reciprocal. So 9/8 divided by 2 is the same thing as 9/8 times 1/2. Okay, I'm multiplying by the reciprocal. So this is going to be, I'm just multiplying straight across. So 9 times 1 is 9, 8 times 2 is 16. So this is it. This is the slope. This is the average rate of change, 9/16.